Once, our watershed was a place of clear running streams, clean lakes, and a haven for coho salmon. Rainwater fell pulling pollutants from forest fires, volcanic dust, and decaying vegetation. It fell onto grassy meadows maintained by the native people through controlled fires. The meadows grew on top of deep gravel soils, and the rainwater was purified as it was filtered through the grass. Groundwater absorbed calcium ions from the gravel, and clear, sweet, buffered water gushed from springs, welled up in lakes, and flowed in streams out to Puget Sound. The sparkling landscape supported salmon, trout, osprey, eagles, bears, and all the attendant wildlife that make up a healthy ecosystem. Salmon, returning from Puget Sound, would lay eggs in the clean gravel streams. When they hatched, the fry would quickly move to quiet pools, ponds, and lakes to feed and grow in water that was perfectly chemically balanced and well supplied with food. Oxygen levels were good. The calcium levels protected their gills. Temperatures were cool under the shade of trees and shrubs. Life was good. With the coming of European settlers to the area, the meadows were channeled and drained for dairies. Manure ran into the streams. Wells were dug and the sparkling water was pumped onto crops, providing a good income for farmers. Gravel was mined for roads. The region prospered. More people came, and septic tanks soon were overflowing into the groundwater, providing rich nutrients for bacteria and algae, which now flourished in the lakes and ponds. Roads, cities, and towns sprang up, paving over the surface of the watershed. Now rainwater ran in torrents over the parking lots and pavement and into the channels and streams. It no longer filtered slowly through the gravel. Water continued to be pumped to supply the growing population. The groundwater sank far below the surface. Stream beds no longer reached it. They dried up, and their old channels became choked with the invasive plants the people brought with them to cover their gardens and parks. Lake levels dropped. Some disappeared forever. The streams that did continue to run collected the sediment running off the land. In the past, the sediment would be flushed up from the bottom when the rainy season started. It would wash out with the flow, leaving clean gravel behind. Now, it just accumulated. Today, the dank, sticky sediment remains on the stream beds and lake bottoms. Lethal hydrogen sulfide gas bubbles up, dissolving in the water and killing fish. Rainwater is no longer filtered and buffered by the grassy meadows. Phosphorus and nitrogen act as fertilizer soup for choking weeds. Toxic blue algae blooms and then dies, depleting oxygen and adding more sediment as it drifts to the bottom of the mud-sealed lakes. But there are things we can do to assure that at least some of the original natural functions of our watershed remain. Years of accumulated organic matter could be removed mechanically from the stream beds, wetlands, and lakes, freeing the water to once again clean the gravel. Stream channels could be deepened to reach the groundwater flowing beneath them. Native vegetation could be encouraged to grow near stream banks and lake edges, shading the water from the hot sun, keeping it cool for the insects that comprise a rich diet for fish. Mud-packed beaver dams and marshes could be removed, restoring the wetland water flow. Chemical pollutants from surface water runoff and toxic algae blooms can be eliminated from some lakes, making the water fresher and cleaner. Groundwater levels can be managed proactively to assure there is enough water to keep the springs, wetlands, and lakes alive. All of these solutions will require public understanding of how our watershed works. It will require agencies regulating the watershed to be responsive and cooperative. We, the Watershed Council, can reach into our communities and find people willing to work for solutions. We can express our concerns to our elected officials and regulatory agencies. When our streams and lakes are sparkling and clear, we all thrive. We discover that what's good for the fish is ultimately good for the people.